computer. All right, so welcome everybody. Thank you for your patience. This has been an interesting start to our gathering. I may put this recording up on YouTube. I think I probably will, but I'm gonna not do YouTube live right now. I'll keep it with just us. I want to thank you to all who have sent donations. I'm in deep gratitude, and if you haven't, I love you just the same, all as well. It's really just, it's donation based for a reason. So I appreciate all support that I receive. And I get that we're all in different realms with our financial flow. And so whatever is perfect. And so we are in this beautiful time right now of an energy where we have a lot of expansion available to us. But you have to pay the piper, or I'll say, and you have to pay the piper. And that means essentially that part of our expansion comes with the cost of making sure that we're looking at the things that need to be changed. There's so much happening all at one time, it seems. And when I say that, it's an awareness that we are going through our ascension process and receiving lots of different medicine at one time. To me, generally speaking, the planets give us different things at different times. Like maybe you should focus here, or maybe you should focus there, or maybe you should focus here. And right now it's kind of like, here's your focus. Everything at once. Or at least, again, that's how I'm perceiving it and experiencing it. The awareness is that anything that we've been blind to is going to come up to be loved, because part of expansion is experiencing forgiveness and integration. And generally, when we are in a dark night of the soul, we call them, or whether or not we're spending time with our shadow and deep feelings about literally anything. It could be your deep feeling about coffee. It doesn't have to be only world events or only interpersonal unfoldings. It could just be anything that's ready to leave your field. And that means it doesn't actually what leaves the field. What happens when it leaves the field is we're changing vibrationally how we experience it or respond to it or react to it, right? So that what eventually becomes is that we're all walking Yodas. Like it's really meant to be that energy of Buddha where we experience everything. We're not going to stop experiencing grief, experiencing pain, experiencing the vast emotions of being human. We're not meant to stop experiencing them. We're meant to master experiencing them. And in mastery, we feel them and they move through us, right? That's the motion of emotion. It's when we get stuck on any kind of thought patterning around emotional feeling. And that's when we're in dis-ease. That's when we start creating challenges within the body, because the cellular structure within water, right? Whatever we're speaking to water is what's going to be held in the cellular structure of water. So powerful. When I've been serving water to Finn now, he's dealing with some arthritic energy, and so I put it in a container and I sing the words love, healing, joy, youthing. Like I start singing into the water and then I pour it into his bowl, because now I've put codes of energy into the water, just like Dr. Emoto, right? Putting in the feeling. Water is a living essence. We've known this for eons and eons and eons, but again, as humanity has gone on its path, we've let go of our connection with very basic things, and having an awareness that water has a memory, right? That's why they name boats. That was the history or the mystery, right? My story behind naming a boat, because the water would remember and offer safe passage, or creating a relationship with the water so that people would be remembered. So it's an awareness that when we start connecting in with these things in new ways, when we are experiencing grief, and when we are experiencing pain, and when we are experiencing things that are really challenging, we can come back and remember our divinity. And that's all that this energy is about, because with Neptune and Jupiter, I mean, we're talking expansive energies. The downloads that have been coming in for me have been happening really powerfully and fast, oftentimes before bed, but not just. Like yesterday, it felt like someone was tickling my head all day long. So I was looking around like, okay, Dad, is that you? Angels, like ascendeds, what's happening here? And I just had to like sit and feel and hold space for whatever was unfolding. And I get that I'm not visual, I get knowings. And so what I feel is unfolding is that we're receiving the vibrational energy and we unpack it, or it reveals itself to us as we align to it, right? So if I'm not in the frequency of I am divinity and I am one with all that is, and I am one with Gaia and all of the beings of Gaia, inner earth, middle earth, all the realms, right? As above, so below. If I'm not in that centered space, it's just hanging out. But it's been delivered. It's like a package that's been delivered, but we haven't opened it yet. So fear not. You're getting the codes, and if you're not experiencing them, if you can't identify them, if you don't know what they are, you're receiving them. And again, I recently went through an experience that I shared with my email list where I visited an old behavior pattern, and because of that old behavior pattern, I was so mad at myself. And of course, I was mad at my inner child, because that's the energy that was programmed. So that's the energy that responded to a circumstance. And ultimately, it's not a vibration that I want to generate or experience anymore. But hindsight being 2020, I was going through an experience and I couldn't really unpack the experience as it was happening. It was happening too fast for me to like say, wait a minute, what's happening here? Do I desire this to happen? Like, how can I participate in this differently? I didn't give myself space to be in the experience differently. And so, and there's again, the programming part of it too. There's when I'm in this experience, this is how I participate in this experience, right? So it's going back and saying, okay, but my inner child really needs love, because in order for this to shift, I cannot shun her. I cannot shame her. I can feel all of that energy to start, right? The anger and the shame was my starting point. And then breathing into that and asking Divine Mother for help, Divine Father for help, all of my teams of light for assistance to observe what I was experiencing, right? I asked for assistance with observation. I have to step out of it in order to really observe it. And from that space, there was this beautiful healing that was able to take place that's still unpacking, because I'm not done forgiving myself yet, because I'm a little stubborn. Me. So it's okay. It's all right. It's not something that I'm worried about or feeling like I'll never move through the process. It's just the awareness that with all of this light coming in, with all of this energy coming to the planet, I mean, these solar winds that we're getting right now are so powerful. Crystalline energy happening, in the form of snow. Flowers blooming, like just everything's happening at once. I feel like we're getting everything at once. And so we're just meant to deal with what we can with where we are, right? So a few things came in around everything that's going on right now. One is, if you are setting your sights for an experience in your life, I desire to experience this. We're very much being asked to hold strong and accept nothing less than the experience that we desire. And know that everything is in the field right now, or really always. We just may not have so much of an awareness of it. So it's really important to decide, this is what I desire, and I will accept only what I desire. Because the things that look like, right, everything that shimmers isn't gold, that expression, everything that glitters isn't gold. There's a lot of false light happening on the planet right now. And it's not about judging it. The false light is totally fine. Everybody's going home. We're all going back to source. Nobody's missing the bus. No matter how wonderful we are as humans or how terrible we are as humans, it doesn't really matter. We're all going back. The question is the journey, right? How can we experience the most masterful energy within the journey? How can we show ourselves that by being love, forgiveness, compassion, kindness, source like energy, how great we can make this experience, right? Through having compassion, through sharing our resources, through being loving and kinding, I made up a word, by being loving and kind and sharing information, resources, whatever that means, right? Whatever that means. It's a very powerful unfolding when we choose to operate from that heart-centered place, right? So there's that. And then we have this energy of integrity. When you speak, really mean what it is that you say. And the caveat with that is that when you speak it, especially from very intense energies such as extreme happiness or extreme anger, right? We have to make sure that we're speaking as our truth, because oftentimes when we speak from anger, it's not actually our truth, it's our perception. Okay, so the perception is the wounding, is the inner child that feels really wounded by something. And oftentimes we're feeling victim. When we speak from the victim, we're still creating. Okay, when we're speaking from our happiness and our joy, we're creating. We want to make sure that we are in alignment and integrity as we speak, as best we can. Again, there's no such thing as perfection in this now moment, and it's totally cool. I'm not mad at anybody for being who they are, and it took a long time to get me there. Did it ever? And I'm not saying I won't fall back into victim patterning ever. Of course, on occasion, that patterning is so deep within my energetic, and a lot of us, right? We've all experienced victim energy and things where, again, when we were children, we actually were victims because A, we didn't know better. B, we may not have had protection for ourselves or by the elders that were meant to protect us, whatever the circumstances were, right? The soul said, okay, but the little kid in us did not, especially when we came in not remembering. We had to develop our soul memory, a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us, right? So it's a journey. It's meant to be the journey, but we're going to be working on in this unfolding now through summer, right? Each full moon has specifics to offer, and I'll talk about that next. But we really are working on what do I desire and laser focus. I do not accept anything less than I desire. And that doesn't mean you cannot be compromising in relationships or compromising in ways where you're building community or whatever compromise means, but not compromising your integrity, right? If we say to spirit, I desire this, but I'm willing to accept this, that's very confusing to spirit. Because spirit's saying, but you want this. Why aren't you giving your vibrational frequency fully, wholly, and completely to this if this is what you desire? Why are you putting up with this? Right? So we're being asked to stay that course. This is what I desire, and I'm going to hold true to myself because my desire is for the highest of all concerned. My desire is growth and expansion and love and joy and whatever, and ever. Amen. Right? So it's that energy. And now as we talk about the energies of this full moon in Libra, we have a conjunct with Pluto. And even to that end, a lot of us born in the 70s or 80s energy is dealing with Chiron as well in the first, second, or third house. So Chiron, wounded warrior, wounded healer. Pluto, shadow work. Same. It's almost, to me, that the frequencies of them are very, very similar. There is a strong resonance between the two energies of Chiron and Pluto. And I get a big yes. And the energy around it is, what are you ignoring? And in Libra, it's about karmic relationships. We're removing karma from humanity, but just like our financial systems, our governments, we're not snapping our fingers and then there's change. We are moving through the healing. And the healing means first we're looking at that shadow piece. So there may be a lot of tension in your karmic relationships. And that's not just partners, it's everyone. It's work, it's family, it's partnership, it's relation to soul family and friends. It's every single thing out there that's in your life that's not aligning for you anymore. That's challenging you to your next level of integrity. And interestingly enough, I'm finding myself in a struggle with finding myself in the next level of integrity and still keeping an open heart, right? We need both. Having an open heart doesn't mean being a doormat, and having an open heart doesn't mean that we have to take everyone's energy in, right? My protective masculine within me has run on overdrive for a lot of my life, because that was based on my inner child, my actual child experience. My masculine came through and said, not happening again. And anybody who wants to come near, this is my energy towards you. That's not exactly the rise of the divine feminine, nor is that an energy of bringing healing to myself and sharing that healing vibration with others. There's no fighting necessary. I don't have to let anybody in my field that I don't want to, and I can still be openly sending love outward, because again, when we send love outward, it is our shield. Because anything that is not love is either going to want to raise its vibration to that loving place, like that story of the comedian and the veteran. The comedian, it was politically based. The comedian had made a comment. Veteran trashed him for the comment. Comedian looked and saw the veteran was actually in a really bad financial way, medical way, and started a GoFundMe for the veteran. The GoFundMe raised so much money that it didn't only help the veteran. He got to share that money with another friend of his who was a veteran who needed the surgery also, right? So when we open, right? So that comedian didn't take that man's energy of negativity in. He said, how can I hold a space of compassion and change this? That's what we're moving towards, where I don't let everybody's energy into my field, and I can still hold the energy of compassion, love, and kindness. And I know that through certain experiences, I start to wobble through that, and I need to find my way back to center. And so I observe it. I love it. I love my inner masculine and my feminine. And I see where they meet in a divine middle, in a holy space in the middle, the heart, right? Because generally the right side of the body is masculine, the left side of the body is feminine. One side of the body gives energy, the other is more receptive to energy. And where they meet in the middle is at the heart, right? That's the energy of the child. So we have all of these energies happening at once right now. And then we've got Passover and Easter. We've got this energy around resurrection, right? And it's us. We are the resurrection of Christ. That Christ is an energy, not just a person, right? We talked about many times how Christ has been embodied on this planet in many beings, many, many, many beings, in all nations, in all countries, in all walks of life. There has been Christ energy anchored on this planet, gratefully, right? So that we can now be the seeds of that frequency and have it awaken within us. And we have the energy. Kind of what I love about Passover is it's a story of, I'm not going to submit to your way of being. I'm going to choose my own. Now there's So Passover is a very involved story because there is also a lot of fear in Passover. Moses went to go get the 10 Commandments, but is that the same story? I think it's the same story. Well, no, they wandered. Yeah, they got in trouble. They wandered for 40 days and 40 nights because they got in trouble. They started building, they took all their gold and they started making the calf, which was worshipped in Egypt, because they didn't know what was happening. So people in fear reverted back to old behavior. And they were willing to leave. They didn't want to submit to what the Pharaoh wanted. They didn't want to be slaves. Over and over and over again in humanity, we have made that error. And so we're coming out of that even now, because you have to remember that everything that we're doing to shift our frequency is to end slavery within. We still believe we're less than somewhere in our autopilot. We still believe that there is more than and less than. Not true. That's a slavery mentality of belief that is not true. We can be in equanimity, and we must choose it, right? That goes back to I desire something and I will not stand for anything less. And it's not about being over someone in those words, right? It's just about choosing for your own self, your own integrity, your own divinity, your own alignment, your own joy, right? And always when that's for the highest of all concerned, compromise isn't even necessary because automatically you're including everyone in that, right? So when we're dealing with karmic relationships, we really want to be looking at where we're compromising and to what degree, and what does that do for us? Are we playing small? I'll have to tell you again, everyone on this call and who will be on this video, right? And anyone who watches this video, you are a medicine person. You are here on the planet with gold that does glitter to share with others. And it doesn't matter how you do it, right? You could offer someone a smile, or you could hold a full moon group at your home. You could drum for the planet. You could dance for the planet, or you could just be quietly working on yourself. All of those things is medicine for this world of 8 billion people, most of whom are trapped in a consciousness that does not belong to them, does not serve them, and does not help them find their inner divinity, their inner spirit, their inner source. It's an unbelievable, like when I say those words, it's almost like I can't believe that we are in 2022 and this is where we are. There's like a future source self of me that says, there's no way they're still stuck there right now. Weren't we supposed to be somewhere all the way down the line over there already? I guess not, right? All things are perfect. There is a open timeline for shift, always. We're just getting bigger and bigger gateways now. Whenever we go through holidays, right? Holy days, which is where the word holiday comes from, but they're holy days, around harvest, around coming together with family, around tradition in the name of not harming one another, but tradition in the name of loving one another, right? These are the things that need to come back into our awareness. And it's totally cool that we each do it differently. We don't have to all do it the same. That's not the point. The point still comes back to how we honor, how we love, how we connect. And when we start with us, and I know I've said this 1,000 times, when we start with who we are, we become the example, right? When I choose to walk in the world in a certain way, I become the example. And not like I care who's looking or watching, in so much like it's not a popularity contest. There are people who will accept me and people who won't. I experienced something very funny the other day that I've not yet experienced in Sedona. Because in all fairness, with my pink hair and my tattoos, I really am pretty Sidonian. However, I went to the supermarket. It's a checkout yourself. And the gentleman who worked in the supermarket insisted on helping me with the checkout. I feel he was afraid I wasn't either going to be able to pay or I was going to try to sneak something. Like I felt his fear that I wasn't going to be in my integrity. And I thought it was so interesting. And so at first I sent myself love because I felt a little judged. So my inner child was like, that doesn't feel very nice. And then I'm like, okay, but he doesn't know who you are. So you're just going to show him who you are by being love, right? By being patient, by being kind. And show him that this doesn't mean anything. This means something, right? The heart. And I've never experienced that before. So it was a very unique, oh, I look like a derelict to him in some way, shape, or form. Like, I have a college education. Not that that matters. But like, I started going through my mind, like all the things that like, wait a second, but I'm this and I'm that and I'm this and I'm that. And I'm like, okay, inner child, yes, we are all those things. And he doesn't know. So the only way you're going to show him who you are is by being kind, right? So these are the things that are up right now for review. The blind spots, whatever they may be, and if any of you are navigating them, my biggest love to all of you. I have a lot of peers who are, or who have just already ended relationships, long-term relationships, or really hopeful about the relationship that they were in. I have a lot of peers moving around, either living nomadically or just moving from place to place, picking up codes, picking up energy of the land from wherever they are. It's very clear, like Tulum has just got this beautiful Lemurian kind of frequency energy, and also some Atlantis, it feels like also. There's just, a lot of different places, and really wherever you are is perfect because that's where you're anchoring your light. And remember that. Like if you're not going anywhere right now, I'm not going anywhere. I may end up in New York for a couple of weeks. I'm really hoping I don't. But if I need to go, I'll go. But that just means I'm anchoring here. And I'm always gone in the summer because this place is hotter than heck. And here I'll be. So this is where I'm meant to anchor my energy in this now moment. This is where my presence will do the most good because my desire is always for the highest, right? So wherever we are, we're the light. If you're traveling, awesome. If you're not, awesome. Keep up with your ritual, whatever that means. For me, full moons are always about big gratitude because everything's being illuminated from the seeds that I've planted at a new moon. And in the new moon, it doesn't mean that I see an immediate in the same month, right? I might have planted these seeds 6 months ago. And now I'm suddenly seeing a fruition unfold. But my new moon is planting seeds of manifestation, and my full moon is filled with deep gratitude. And on the new moon and the full moon, I tend to clear energy, clear space, clear out like shredding documents, like just getting rid of stuff, right? Lighting my candles, fresh flowers, plants, crystals, all the things that make us remember our connection. I want to pause here for a moment before we do. I'm going to pause the recording. So we're going to do a little process for resurrection codes. And when I think of resurrection, I just think of renewal, right? We're not, when Yeshua or Jesus came back, he didn't come back. He wasn't, one of my favorite lines from a TV show is Jesus was not a zombie. Just he didn't come back the same way he left, right? He came back as light, as energy, as something between the third and the fifth dimension. He came back, looking like himself, but not the corpa like it is in this moment in this 3D space, right? So when we're resurrecting, what I really look at it as is putting more of our energy online for higher frequencies. It is my awareness that the DNA strands are actually 144, right? So we're dealing with the smallest percentage of that in this moment. But we're awakening more and more of it because we believe the density as we because our belief and our feelings create this entire holographic field. It doesn't mean the trees don't exist without our belief. I mean, it kind of does and it kind of doesn't. That's like chicken and egg theory. I don't want to get too far into that. But the point is that when I fully believe, I actualize. If you talk to any famous person, Freddie Mercury walked around believing he was going to be a rock star, even when he was playing in a garage in his friend's home, right? And he walked with the energy of it. I mean, I love the movie that came out about them because it really did have a lot of the essence of him. He went in there smoking cigarettes, like basically throwing them in the record company's faces because he was like, no, it's going to be my way and that's it. And there's no compromise, right? This is what my vision is. I'm not going to let that vision go. So that's the energy of true embodiment because it's a feeling and a belief. And when we feel it and we believe it, we create it. So if you believe that you are a divine being of source, right? I'm not saying again, I am not God, goddess. I am the spark of God, goddess within me, and I can choose that vibrational frequency. And when I do, I am love, right? That's the one thing that people miss out on when they say, I am God. Not from here, you're not. You're only God, goddess, if you're from here, right? God isn't this. God is this. Universe, source is love. Love, frequency, energy. Love, light, sound, all of that yummy stuff. But that's what it is. It's not anything that has to do with this. What has to do with this is belief. I believe I am of a higher vibrational realm, and I can bring that realm into this now moment. That's where belief helps us. It's not, I'm so flippin' awesome and I'm better than everyone and to the rest of the world, right? It's not the ego energy. It's the belief that we are interwoven, interconnected, one with all that is. And when we recognize that one with all that is, we want to harm none. We don't want to be better than anybody else. We don't need to feel special because we already know how special we are. That's a big one for a lot of us. Our inner child wants to be recognized and wants other people to see how accomplished we are and wants attention and wants validation, right? That energy pulls us further from our source. When we can quietly know how badassery we are, all on our own, without having to announce it or share it or whatever it, right? That's when we know we're actualizing. And when we are believing and feeling with joy and certainty, faith, surrender, that everything that we could ever desire can come to fruition for the highest of all concerned, right? Then we start to walk in the world in a very different way. So our resurrection codes are about resurrecting our original divine blueprint, right? To come more and more online to the original energetics that we were meant to be, which would be love, compassion, forgiveness, light, all of that. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to ask everyone to close their eyes and take some deep breaths. You could be on or off screen for this. It's always what you choose. Okay. And we're going to call in all of our teams of light as above, so below. And we're just going to ask that everybody be with us. I'm not going to call them in bit by bit this time. We're just going to call in all of our teams of light to guide, direct, surround, and protect us, as above, so below. So that's all of our beings, our teams, and the other dimensional energies above us, and Earth, Gaia, and all of her kingdoms all below us. And we ask that Source just wrap us in this container, as above, so below, with deep gratitude. We're going to just breathe in some golden light in through the center of the chest, the center of the heart chakra, as if that light is coming directly in through your heart chakra, your heart energy. And as you breathe it, we're filling our physical body with light, and on the exhale, we're expanding that light all throughout all of our systems, organs, bones, and blood. And we're grounding this light deep into Mother Gaia. So we're breathing in more and more golden light, and on the exhale, it's expanding into the emotional field, the mental field, the etheric field, all that we are. And we are removing ourselves in this moment from collective consciousness. Just set that intention to release yourself from collective consciousness. And we are choosing unity consciousness. In unity, we are love. In unity, we are our I am presence. We are the soul. We are divine perfection. In unity consciousness, we are not corded to anyone. We are sovereign. There are beautiful star beings that are gathering around us now, and they are offering their assistance. We are being offered a beautiful ruby red light at the heart chakra, both front and back. And so if you wish to receive this ruby red light, you may allow yourself to receive it now. If you do not, you do not have to receive. It's only what you feel aligned to. I'm seeing now 3 rings of beings around us. We are surrounded first by our ancestors. The next ring are the star beings. And the third ring is the elemental kingdom of Gaia. And they're each ring is offering us. So our galactic friends, family, star nations have offered us this ruby red light at the heart. We're going now to the outer ring, to the elemental kingdom, and they are offering us an opalescent light in through the crown and connecting with all energy bodies at once. So just give yourself a moment to experience that light and ground it into Gaia. And the ancestors now gather very close to us. They are our inner circle. We are being anointed with sacred oil at the crown, at the third eye, at the throat, at the heart, at the root, and at our feet. If you wish to receive this, allow this unfolding to happen now. And our ancestors are offering us the energy of a rainbow-colored blanket around our shoulders. Holding us close to their hearts, swaddling us in their love. Your resurrection is an unfolding that will take time. As your cells become more crystalline, as your bodies begin to utilize energy in new ways, as your minds expand into new possibilities, and your hearts open to greater amounts of love, without strings, without suffering and attachment. You are the bridge, the portal, the vortex by which we enter into your field. It is you and your frequency, your vibration. And as you open more to us, to Source, to the all that is, you bring forth more of who you are. You are vast in your beingness. You are not the small that you believe yourself to be. Use your imagination. Begin to see life in new ways. Choose new experiences. Choose new ways of being. Continue to weave the threads of your creation with new patterns, new potentials. Choose the threads that help you align to your integrity. Weave with diligence, commitment, and love. You have all been chosen, and you all chose. Remember your light. Remember your sovereign. Remember your grace. We love you. We remember you. We are with you. Seeing now in your mind's eye a beautiful emerald green light beginning at the crown and weaving a cocoon of integration, of ease, of love, of resurrection, all the way down to the bottoms of your feet. And when you feel this process is complete, you may open your eyes and come back to the space. Welcoming you all back. That was fun. Does anyone want to share before we go? If not, no worries at all. Okay. Then I just send all my love to all of you with deep, deep gratitude for your presence, for your love, and for really holding the energy field. These energies are very, 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 very. And I'll leave it at that. Give yourself time to integrate, drink lots of good water, and I will see those who are in the sound group on the 21st. Oh, I see a kitty. Alrighty. Bye for now, everyone.